Specific types of interactions, which are usually unconscious, often trigger intense emotions or overreactions. They are mental processes that occur deep in your psyche and are not readily apparent unless you're looking for them. To react appropriately when these dynamics occur, you need to become more conscious of when you're the initiator and recipient of them. Once you get the hang of spotting them in yourself and others, you'll have an easier time diffusing them in an effective, appropriate manner. These dynamics are the ones that lead to such overpowering reactions that you feel you can't beat them and run off and abuse yourself instead. Note that most of what's going on in these interactions is unconscious, out of your awareness, off camera. Just because you can't recognize the dynamic doesn't mean they're not happening or affecting you. The first is active and passive projection. Passive projection occurs when another person isn't aware of a feeling that, if felt, would cause discomfort, and you pick up on it instead. Active projections happen when another person casts off an uncomfortable feeling and sends it your way, and you take hold of it or internalize it as if it belongs to you. A useful metaphor is that in a passive projection, someone drops a ball and you pick it up. In an active projection, someone throws it and you catch it. Here's how passive projection works. You're on an airplane and you notice a man leaving the bathroom and he's walking down the aisle and he is clueless about the trailer of toilet paper stuck to his shoe. If you are like me, your first reaction is to cringe. Why, you might ask, would you cringe at the toilet paper on his shoe? Because you feel the shame you assume he will feel when he finds out he's got that toilet paper following him down the aisle. Not that there's anything inherently shameful about having toilet paper on your shoe. The moment he looks down and notices the paper, you'll probably feel a wave of relief because he'll now feel the discomfort himself and remove it. In this case, since the man is a stranger, it's likely that your discomfort will be transitory and mild. If your husband is walking across the stage to make a presentation with toilet paper streaming off of his shoe, my guess is you will feel a good deal more shame that still doesn't belong to you. You might be similarly distressed if anyone close to you behaves shamefully. If your brother has an addiction but is in denial and refuses to deal with it, you may feel ashamed for him when he does outlandish things. You are experiencing the discomfort he's out of touch with and needs to feel in order to stop acting the way he's acting. Although the discomfort feels enormously strong and as if it is your own, remember that the disgraceful actions of another person are not a case for you to be ashamed. The feelings belong to the individual acting badly. You need only feel shame about what you have done by your own free will. When you experience another person's discomfort because they don't or won't feel it, you need to let go of the feelings so that you're not carrying around someone else's baggage. We all have enough of our own to schlep throughout life. Active projection occurs when a person unconsciously disowns a feeling with which he or she is uncomfortable or would be if it was felt and lays it on you instead. It's unlikely the person is aware that they are foisting their feelings onto you. They are putting intention and effort, though unconscious, into avoiding emotional discomfort by sticking it in your direction. To project is to throw out something. And in this case of active projection, the phrase has a dual meaning. To divest the self of something and to thrust it as far away as possible. When someone actively projects a negative emotion onto you, it's because they're so uncomfortable with that emotion, or would be if they allowed themselves to feel it, that they needed to get rid of it post haste. They do this by attributing the uncomfortable feeling to you and the disliking or hating it in you rather than in themselves. Just because someone assigns a negative quality to you doesn't mean it is or isn't there. That's for you to decide. When your spouse has a thing about being right but denies it is a good example. In an argument, they insist that you always have to have the last word. You always think that you're right. If you can honestly look at yourself and say you're not someone who much cares about being right or wrong, then you have no reason to buy into the accusation. The discomfort you feel belongs to your spouse who refuses to acknowledge hating to be wrong. The only healthy antidote to projection is to know yourself inside out. If you're completely objective and honest, you'll be able to distinguish your fault from what other people blame you for, and partially evaluate their accusations. If you always automatically assume that you're mistaken or wrong, it won't be easy to deflect projections. Remember, if the feeling doesn't belong to you, let it go.